Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In this video you're going to learn how to make this simple dress. If this looks like what you're interested in, please stick around, and please don't forget to like and subscribe. If you have any question, let me know in the comment section. Without wasting much of your time, let's get started. Here I have with me 2 yards of jungle sew material, but I'll advise you buy like 2.5 yards. Marking on this fabric, you can see is not visible, so I'm going to use a paper to draft before transferring it to the fabric. Start by marking out a starting line. So this starting line is also serving as a shoulder line. Then from the center front, mark 3 inches for neck width and 1.5 inch for neck depth. This 3 by 1.5 is for our back neckline. I'm also going to draw for the front. From the shoulder line, I will come down by 7 inches and mark. Then I'll use a straight ruler to connect slantly like so to achieve a V neckline. All right, from the center front, come in by half of your shoulder measurement. Mine is 7 inches, and from where I mark 7 inches, I'll come down by 1 inch for my shoulder slope. Then I'll connect it into the neck width. To mark your chest line, place your tape from the shoulder slope and come down by whatever you have. Mine is 7.1. After marking your chest line, use your straight ruler to mark it across. Mark half of your shoulder measurement on the chest line so you can have a straight line to connect it from the chest line up to the shoulder slope. Then after that, place your tape from the shoulder slope and measure all the way down to the chest line. Then fold your tape into two to get the midpoint. From the midpoint, go in by ½ inch and mark. Then on this chest line, mark quarter of your bust circumference. Quarter of mine is 8.5, so I'll mark 8.5, then I'll add extra 1 inch to it. After marking that, use your curve ruler to create your armhole. Next step is to place your tape from your shoulder line and come down by your waistline. Mine is 17 inches, so I'll mark 17 inches there, and I'll use my straight ruler to mark it across, to roll the line across. Place your tape from the waistline and mark your hip line. Mine is 9 inches. I'll mark 9 inches there. Then I'll use my stress ruler to roll the line across. After that, measure the length of your dress by placing your tape from the shoulder line, which is also the starting line, and determine the length of your dress. The full length of this paper is 36.5, but I'll add extra 1 inch to it when I'm transferring it to fabric. Alright, so on this chest line, I've marked quarter of my bust circumference, which is 8.5. I also added 1 inch for ease. So go ahead and do the same thing. On the waistline, mark quarter of your waist circumference and also add 1 inch for ease. Then on the waistline, mark quarter of your waist circumference and add 2 inches for ease. Alright, so on the waistline I added 1 inch, but on the hip line I'm adding 2 inches. That's because I want the waist to be snatched a bit. That's why I'm adding 1 inch to it. Then after marking that, use your ruler to connect it as shown. After this, I'll go ahead and add my stitching allowance of 1 inch. I added 1 inch to the chest line, 1 inch to the waistline, and 1 inch to the hip line. This second line is my stitching allowance. So when I'm joining my dress, I'm going to follow 1 inch all the way down to shape my dress. I want this dress to be an A-line dress, so I'll add extra 5 inches to my hip circumference. So go ahead and do the same thing. Add 5 inches, additional 5 inches to your hip circumference. Then go ahead and connect it like so to achieve the A-line effect. Then after that, go ahead and cut it out. Next step is to place it on your fabric and cut it out. Remember, your fabric needs to be on fold. It's not compulsory, you must use a paper to draft out this before you transfer it to your fabric. You can decide to do this on your fabric and cut it out. After cutting out the back, I'll go ahead and trim out the front to achieve the V effect. Then I'll transfer it to my fabric. I'm done transferring the front pattern to my fabric. I will also use a pattern paper to draft out the sleeve. I've gone ahead to mark out my starting line, which is also like the shoulder line. Then what I'm going to mark now is the biceps line. To determine your biceps line, divide your bust circumference by 12 and add 1 inch to it. Mine is 4 inches. Mine is 4 inches. I'll go ahead and mark 4 inches there and roll a line across and label that my biceps line. From the starting line, I'll measure the length of my sleeve. I'm going to use a length of 24 inches. So go ahead and determine the length, how long you want the sleeve to be. All right. Then roll a straight line across. Measure what you have on the sleeve like so. So mine is 11 inches. I'm going to use 10.5 because this upper part I'll be sewing out half inch. I'll go ahead and measure 10.5 slantly like so. From the starting line, I'll measure 10.5 slantly into the biceps line. Then I'll mark what I have there. I'll go ahead and mark it there. So whatever yours is, measure it from the starting line slantly into the biceps line and roll a line across the line like so. On the full length of the sleeve, I'm just going to mark 13 inches. That's how wide I want my sleeve to be. Next step is to place your tape from the starting line and measure slantly into the 10.5. Go ahead and fold your tape into two to determine the midpoint. After that, go ahead and connect it the way I'm connecting it. From the starting line, just curve it in like this. Then from the midpoint, just curve it in like so. Next step is to connect from what you have on the biceps line all the way down to the full length. Then after that, go ahead and cut it out. Go ahead and fold your fabric into two and cut it out. So I'm going to cut both sleeves together. This is what I have after I was done tracing it out. You can see I have both sleeve here. The next step is to cut out a facing for the front and the back. So I'll go ahead and fold my pieces into two. Then I'll place the front neckline on it as shown. I'll go ahead and trace it out. After tracing out the facing, place it on the main fabric. The front of the facing must face the front of your main fabric, like so, and sew it with half of an inch. To cut a facing for the back neckline, I'll go ahead and place my pieces into two like so. Then I'll bring the main fabric and place it on it like so in order to trace it out. After tracing it out, place it on the main fabric like so. Go ahead and sew it round with half of an inch, just the neckline. Go ahead and join the neckline with half of an inch. After sewing the front neckline, go ahead and notch it round, trim it out and flip it to the right side. I'll do the same thing to the back, then I'll take it to my ironing table and iron it out. The next step is to place the front and the back together like so, front facing each other. Join the shoulder of the front and the shoulder of the back together like so. Then also join the facing of the front and the facing of the back together like so. Use your pin to secure it. Secure the lining or the facing together and also secure the shoulder together. Do the same thing to the other side. After that, you take it to your sewing machine and join it with half of an inch. So I'll join the facing of the front and the facing of the back together like this. And I'll go ahead and pin it down. Pin the shoulder down as well. Put the shoulder of the front and the shoulder of the back, pin it together like so. Then pin this other part as well. Go ahead and join it with 1/2 inch. This method is going to help the shoulder to have a neat finishing. All right, so go ahead and join it with 1/2 inch and join the other side as well. Here is what I have after I was done joining mine. The next step is to fix my sleeve. So I'll go ahead and fold my sleeve into two to notch the midpoint. The midpoint is going to sit on the shoulder line. I'll place the midpoint that I just notched on the shoulder line like so. I'll go ahead and pin it down. Use your pin to secure your sleeve around the armhole. After that, take it to your sewing machine and sew it with 1/2 inch. This is how it looks after I was done joining my sleeve to it. The next step is to go ahead and create my loop that I'll be attaching to the waist part, and also the rope I'll be using to tie it just to have this snatched waist. All right, the length of this strap is 21.5 inches. You can decide to make yours up to 60 inches or lesser. All right, so the width of it is 1.5 inch. So I'll fold the upper part in, fold from the left in by 1/2 inch, fold from the right in by 1/2 inch, then go ahead and fold it again and sew on it. So I'll sew like that all the way down. When I get to the ending part, I'll also do the same thing, fold it in before I fold in from the right and from the left. Then I'll fold it again to sew it all the way down. Here is the strap I'll be using to achieve my loop. So I'll fold it the same way I folded the other one. Fold from the left in, fold from the right in, and fold it again and sew all the way down. So after that, I'll go ahead and cut it. I need like 4 pieces of it. For those of you that may want to know the length of my loop, this is 3.5 inches. I'll be inserting the loop around my waistline. So I'll go ahead and measure from the shoulder line to my waistline. My waistline is 17 inches, so I'll mark where I have 17 inches. So go ahead and do the same thing. Measure from your shoulder line down to your waistline and mark what you have there. So the first loop will be fixed on the line down my waistline. Just go ahead and fix yours on your waistline. Then use a pin to secure it. To insert the second one, go ahead and mark 1 inch above from the line, from the waistline you marked. Mark 1 inch above the line. All right. Then fold the second loop as shown. Go ahead and insert it inside. After inserting, use your pin to secure it. I will also do the same thing to the other side. After that, I'll take it to my sewing machine and I'll join it with 1 inch all the way down, starting from the sleeve. I'll go ahead and join it with 1 inch all the way down. To the down part, I'll fold it in and sew it round. Here is the final look of our dress. I'll go ahead and fix the rope around the waistline. So if this tutorial was helpful, please consider smashing the subscribe button if you haven't already, and also like the video. If you have any question, let me know in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching. See you guys in my next video. Bye.